Lorensen from the Porter Report back here again with another coaches showcase. Today we have Denver head coach Jeff Wulbrun. The Pios last year saw a 4-win improvement. They keep moving up in the Summit League. They're on the right trajectory under coach. How are you doing today?
Great, Nick. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well. We were talking beforehand, 5 weeks into practice. Program, like I just mentioned, the program's on the rise. What's the long-term plan for this? I mean, you saw 4-win improvement. And it
Yep.
just seems like everything's getting better and better for DU.
Well, certainly when we took over the team 2 years ago, they were coming off a 2-win season. I thought we made tremendous progress in our first year. We jumped it up to 11 wins this past year, despite a lot of injuries and setbacks, adversity. We managed to improve with a 15-win season. And of course, the goal and the objective now, Nick, is to compete in the upper echelon of our conference and be a team that contends for a championship. So, Nick, I would tell you, I think we're poised to make a significant jump this year. Recruiting has gone well. I think given the set of circumstances that everybody in college basketball is dealing with, we navigated through it pretty successfully. And I'm excited about my team.
Yeah, I was really a fan of your roster last season. You got a lot of transfers coming. You had a lot of transfers coming. You had a good non-conference. Just talk about how you molded those guys together, because you're kind of you got to do the same this year, and it's just how college basketball works now.
Well, it is, and it is a different landscape in college basketball. You know, I took this job 2 years ago, and things are significantly different than they were 2 years ago. I remember going in the interview and saying how important it was for me to build a program and not coach a different team every year. And of course, the emergence of the portal and NIL compensation has put everybody in college basketball as it's the rare team that has great retention and only has to recruit 2 or 3 players every season. So I do think a couple of things, Nick. I think you have to embrace it as a coach. You can't complain about it. It is what it is. From an NIL standpoint, the NCAA has given these players the ability to earn money off their name, image, likeness. We have to embrace that. We have to find out how to be a player within the NIL compensation system, and I think you have to embrace the transfer portal and look to navigate through it effectively. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. As I look at our roster this year, we have an incoming freshman that we're very high on from Chicago. We have 2 junior college transfers. We have 2 undergraduate transfer portal players, and we have 2 graduate transfer portal players. So kind of used a variety of everything. In the 2 years I've been here, international players have been a strong component to the makeup of our teams. Last year we had 5 international players. This year I think we have 3, but I think, as I said, you have to find ways to navigate it effectively. And of course, it's going to be different for us than it's going to be for Oklahoma, or different for us than it's going to be for teams in the Missouri Valley. And I think you have to be innovative in your approach. You have to embrace the situation. And as I said, find effective ways to navigate it and still continue to build your program and without coaching a team every year, a new team every year. And of course, retention is a very big component in doing that as well.
Yeah, how are you navigating that NIL? I mean, DU has an interesting aspect where they're really the only college team in town. You guys are a private school, correct? How do you guys navigate that?
Yeah, we about a year ago, I thought that if we didn't have an NIL presence, then we would lose players. It would hurt us in retention. And if we didn't have an NIL presence, it would inhibit us to some degree from recruiting players. And I think that proved to be true. While we don't have institutional NIL, which a lot of teams fall into that category, a lot of institutions fall into that category. Like many schools, we have a group of donors that have put together the collective and from a legal standpoint and solicit donations. So, I want to be, as I said, innovative, and I want to be proactive in our approach. And I think that's necessary as we look to continue to build our program here at the University of Denver.
Yeah, I've really liked the approach, not just this year in the transfer portal, but last year. Let's talk about some of those guys coming in. So you have Jackson Breckley coming over from Utah.
Yeah.
Very, very good passer, 2.9 assist to turnover rate last year at Utah. And he was all academic kid, so he's smart.
Well, we take pride in that, and honestly, Nick, that's part of the reason I'm here. You know, you talk all the time about players for trying to find the right fit, and as a head basketball coach, I want to find the right fit. I had a great fit when I was at Stanford for 5 years before I came here. I love coaching high character, high integrity young people. The best way to say it is guys who chased excellence in everything they did. They worked like hell to make the NBA, but they also took advantage of academic opportunities, networking opportunities. They wanted to be good players. They wanted to be good brothers. They wanted to be good teammates, good sons. And the draw for me was, I thought, at the University of Denver, we're one of the top 70 academic institutions in the country out of 6,000 schools. So we're almost in that 1 percentile. So I was able to build a culture here, and I can tell you, as we enter our third year, we've hit that part of it out of the park. We have a great culture. We have kids that fit the academic mission of the university. Last quarter, our team GPA was 3.6. So these are good kids. These are high character kids, and now we want to make the jump and bring in these student athletes who are chasing excellence in all they do, and the expectation would be to win championships in addition to that. And I think we're moving the needle as far as that goes. You mentioned Jackson Brenchley. Mm-hmm. So a year ago, we recruited a very similar player, different position, but Lucas Kasunas was a transfer for us from Stanford. And I recruited Lucas to Stanford. He didn't have an opportunity to play significant minutes while he was at Stanford, but we thought at our level in our league that he would be a very productive player for us. And lo and behold, Lucas averaged double figures. Gosh, in his last game for us, he had 27 points. And so I like that component. I like, as we look at the transfer portal, I like recruiting a high major player who was thought to be, you know, someone who could be a major contributor at that level. And for whatever reason, a coaching change, you know, a log jam at his position, sometimes those players don't have the opportunity to do that. Lucas flourished here for us last year. I think Jackson will do the same thing. Jackson is a 6'5" wing. He's proven in the 4+ weeks I've coached him to be a very good shooter. He can put the ball on the floor. He's a mature, savvy, experienced player. He's 25 years old. He's married. There's a maturity and a savvy that he brings to our team, which is a great component.
Yeah, that's wild. I guess it's it's the Utah thing. It's the Utah thing. There's another kid though, all academic, not a Power 5 guy though. Isaiah Adu-Akra over from UTSA. 6 starts for the Runners last year. Talk about him. He's another one that fits in that all academic smart thing perfectly.
Yep. Yeah, 3.9 student, graduated in 3 years. He'll be a graduate student here and have 2 years to play for us. A 40% three-point shooter in his career at Texas San Antonio. Nick, I'll tell you, we went into our recruiting cycle this year, and I felt we needed to significantly improve our three-point shooting, our playmaking, our ball handling, and our passing. And I think we've done a good job in those areas. Certainly Isaiah, at 6'7", a 40% three-point shooter, a career 94% free throw shooter, is an excellent shooter. And he's shown us that in the 5 weeks or so that we've been together here and trying to improve his game off the bounce and defensively. But he's been a significant contributor, at this level before. And it's nice to get someone with that experience, someone who's been relied upon as we look to build our team this year.
Yeah, you mentioned that scoring. Josh Lee comes over from his JUCO, 15 points per game. Speak about how he's developed through these 4 weeks.
Yeah, Josh Lee, we thought would be an excellent playmaker for us. As I watched tape on Josh, he always seemed to be in the right defensive position. And that was one of the things that really stood out to me in recruiting him, just that somebody schooled him really well defensively. And we've seen the same thing in our work this summer. He plays defense with a ton of heart and desire, and he leads the team in charges this summer without a doubt. He's a playmaker offensively for us. He does a nice job getting to the paint and then reading the defense and making the right reads. I think Josh will be a viable contributor to us this year.
And then Tyson Garf, another JUCO kid, comes over from Salt Lake. Really, really good program.
Great junior college program. And Tyson, again, a 40% shooter on one of the top 5 junior college programs in the country. And I think we're going to expand his game off the bounce, but he is an excellent standstill, catch and shoot, 3-point shooter. We're working on him shooting off the move this summer. And then, as I said, enhancing his game off the bounce. But again, another player who really will enhance our 3-point shooting.
And then Devin Carney, another guy that's really going to enhance that, just shooting and pull. He scored over 2,000 points in high school right outside Pittsburgh, one of the top women players. Didn't play at Duquesne last year, but he's a damn good scorer.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And that was the intent in recruiting Devin, someone who at the high school level scored 2,500 points, averaged 30 points a game, had several 50-point games. He's an elite level shooter with deep range, a prolific scorer. And he redshirted last year at Duquesne. And so he practiced every day against high-level competition at Duquesne on a very good basketball team. So he's someone we think will be another significant contributor to our team. So, all of these guys that you've mentioned, when we think that we've improved our 3-point shooting, certainly all of the guys you've mentioned we've said are good 3-point shooters, but the ball handling, the passing, and the playmaking as well. So we're really excited about Devin. Devin has the ability to shoot beyond the scope of coverage for a defense. And, I'm sure we'll get to him, but we return one of the best players in the league in our point guard, Tommy Bruner. Tommy is excellent at getting to the paint, getting to the hip of his defender and drawing help. And a year ago, Nick, we didn't have great 3-point shooting around him. So teams clogged the gaps, they clogged the lanes, and he always had a crowd when he got to the paint. I think we're going to be a good enough 3-point shooting team this year that people will have to stay at home, and it'll give Tommy ample opportunity to get to the paint, create for himself and his teammates.
Yeah, and lastly, you bring in a proven winner, Isaiah Carr. I love when programs do that. You bring in someone that's just consistently won at every level. He was 102-4 in high school. Comes over from GCU, which is a great program over there in the WAC. Made 6 starts for the Lopes. Talk about your last transfer portal addition this offseason.
Yeah, Isaiah has been everything we hoped he would be. He's 7 feet tall. He has great hands. He has great feet. He runs the floor very, very well. We are really excited about him. I mean, we keep stats of all of our live action in the summer, and he's shooting almost 70% from the field. Has a nice touch around the basket. We're trying to get him in better shape, trying to get him to compete harder. He has such a high upside. It's so exciting. I've worked with post players most of my career, and boy, to have a 7-foot player who can move, who can run the floor, who's got great feet, who's a rim protector on the defensive end, is really, really exciting. He's and we have him for 3 years. This is his second Division I school, so theoretically we would have him for 3 years, and it's really exciting to think about how he'll develop that during that time. But I think he can develop into one of the best centers in our league for sure.
Yeah, we'll see all these guys mold together with the guys you're bringing back, like Tommy, in non-conference. You guys are going to Colorado State. You're going to Idaho, going to BYU. Talk about putting the schedule together. Are there any more little nuggets?
Yeah, you try to accomplish a lot of things as you put the schedule together, and certainly one of them is to give your team opportunities against comparable competition to get better and to build their confidence. And then you also want to challenge your team in certain situations. We go to BYU this year, and that's a really difficult environment to play in. That certainly will be a challenge. We go to Colorado State, very similar situation there. We're going to go to the South Alabama MTE. We're going to play 3 games in 3 days, which is a great, I guess, comparison to what your league tournament will be like, where you have to put together 3 game plans and win 3 games in 3 days. So I think we've done a nice job putting the schedule together, giving a team with 7 newcomers a chance to be successful, maybe early in the season against comparable competition, and challenging them in some tough venues. And certainly we have some tough venues in our league. And I think we've done a nice job putting the schedule together, and really excited to, it's funny, as a college basketball head coach now, you do so many things, and what you love to do the most, you probably do the least, which is actually coach the team. So, we got through spring recruiting, put together the team, and we felt we really did a nice job putting the group together. We did a good job with retention in addition to our newcomers. And now we get to do what we love to do the most, Nick, which is coach the team and put the puzzle together. And I can tell you, we're in our 5th week, and it's been fun. That's what we enjoy to do the most, and it's been fun to be out on the court and putting the team together.
Yeah, you put the perimeter of that puzzle together so far with those 4 or 5 weeks. Just talk about what promising signs you've seen out of everyone so far. Lastly.
Well, as I said, I mentioned some of the areas that I thought we were deficient in a year ago, and I think we shored those areas up in our recruiting, and certainly through a month of practices. I think we'll be a much improved 3-point shooting team. I think we'll be a much improved playmaking team, and a team that uses ball screens well. I think we'll spread the floor because of our 3-point threats. I think we potentially have an excellent big man in Isaiah Carr, a rim protector on the defensive end at 7 feet, a guy who will be difficult to navigate versus ball screens. We return another, I think, a potential first-team all-league player for us in Toko Teamo. Toko is a 6'9". He'll be a junior this year, and he averaged 11.5 points a game for us last year, 6.5 rebounds. Toko does so many things and is a really versatile big. He shot 40% from 3 last year, albeit he didn't shoot a high volume of threes, but shot them at a very good percentage. I think this year we'd like to increase the number of threes he takes. He does some simple things which help your offense so much. He rolls off ball screens so hard that he collapses the defense. The ball just finds him in those situations. He's a great cutter off the ball. He's a solid rebounder, averaged almost 7 rebounds for us last year. So we're really excited about him. He just left last week, and he'll be playing with the Finnish World University team. So he's off to China and probably play 10 to 12 games with the Finnish team. So that'll be a great experience for him.
Yeah, that's an amazing experience. I've been telling everyone over the last couple of weeks within the league, I think, it's more wide open than it's ever been. So I wouldn't be shocked to see you up top. Your first 2 years, you had South Dakota State and then Oral Roberts, like 2 of the best teams in Summit League history. So this is your time to shine.
Well, I'll tell you, Nick, the Summit League had never had a team go undefeated through the course of the season. And now we've had it in back-to-back seasons. And, everybody knows what a great team Oral Roberts was a year ago, with Max Asmus and company. And boy, they not only were a great team in the Summit League, they were one of the best teams in the country. And, it was basically the same team that went to the Sweet 16 a couple of years ago. And a year ago, you had South Dakota State run undefeated in the conference. And they probably, I would think they would be your preseason favorite in our league. They return almost everyone. But we're really excited. It's a great league to compete in. great coaches. I think the talent level is very high, and we're very excited about continuing to grow our program, Nick, and get to the next level, which is to compete for championships in the Summit League.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, I appreciate you hopping on here.
No, my pleasure, Nick. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Awesome. Speak soon.